Well, welcome back, everybody. As it happens here in Saratoga, people are constantly walking by the front of the studio, and I look outside and I see the host of Beyond the Headlines, Mike Lenz, who is coming back from a very interesting meeting. So I pulled him in so you could tell us about it. Hiya, Michael.
How are you, Jesse? Good to be here.
I'm doing fine, thanks. What were you coming from?
Well, I just got back from the library. The library hosted an event where they were honoring all of the living mayors of Saratoga Springs as part of the 100th anniversary of our city incorporating, which is happening in 2015.
Right.
So we got all of the mayors, including the current mayor, Mayor Yepsen, in one room at the library, in the community room, and there was a moderator, and they asked us a lot of great questions, and it was a really nice opportunity to talk about some of the things that we were proud of when we were in office, but also to hear from the other mayors in terms of their accomplishments and some of the challenges that they faced and some of the crises that they encountered. And what I found fascinating was that, and I made this comment at the gathering, was that so much of what each of us had accomplished while in office built upon the things that previous mayors had done, and then subsequent to that, mayors that followed us also built on some of the things that we had been working on. So whatever political party you were involved with, the refreshing thing that you can take away from this gathering was that all of us agree, Saratogians, we had the best interests of Saratoga at heart, and collectively we accomplished a great deal.
Well, you know what? It's kind of an exclusive club if you think about it. I have to ask you, how many mayors does it take to change a light bulb? I was just kind of curious. Does it take all 8?
In our case, it might, but we would all work together, I'm sure.
I got it. You know, we had done a documentary on the 100th anniversary of Glens Falls, and we put all the living mayors together. The conversation was fascinating. It had nothing to do with politics. It had to do for their love and their passion to see the city grow.
And many of the people on that, several of the people on that on the dais went toe to toe in elections.
Yeah, sure.
So anytime you have an election, there are winners and there are losers. But today there were no losers. Everybody up there was a winner. All of us had the opportunity to serve. And even though in the past we may have had political disagreements, the really refreshing thing was that none of that was there. And kind of like Ali and Frazier when they went toe to toe in those boxing matches, and then years later were able to come together and say, hey, it was an incredible experience. And there's a level, I think, of respect for one another, for knowing what you had to go through to get to that office and the challenges you faced when you're in that office, that whether we disagreed politically back in the day, we all, at the end of the day, respect one another for all that we've done.
Sure. So, again, you shared things that the normal civilian doesn't experience. Hey, while I've got you, just quickly, on Beyond the Headlines coming up, it's a political season.
It is.
We've locked up a date for Aaron Wolf. We're working with the Stefanik camp, isn't that correct? Yeah,
we had Elise Stefanik on during the primary. We had her opponent, Matt Doheny, on as well. And as you know, Beyond the Headlines is a show where we interview business and political leaders. This will be the first election cycle that we'll have gone through since the show began. And it's an exciting time because we're going to have an opportunity, hopefully, to bring a lot of these candidates in. We want to be as fair and unbiased as we can be, so we want to have an opportunity for both sides to be represented. We're working with the Stefanik campaign to come up with a mutually agreeable time for her to come back on for the general. We're going to be interviewing Aaron Wolf in early October. I know we've got some other races coming up, some assembly races, attorney general race here in New York State, governor's race. So not sure if we'll be able to get all of those candidates, but we're certainly going to try.
Right, and as you know, Michael brings a unique perspective in it, having been in politics, having been a mayor. And you do one hell of an interview, I'll tell you. You really do. I hear about it all the time.
Well, I watched you, and I learned from the best, Jesse.
Michael, sorry to pull you off the sidewalk. Thanks for coming in.
Glad to be here.
Okay, we'll see you soon.
Take care.